Welcome, guys. So, I thought I'd do it. Oh my god, I'm already TPing into every single wall imaginable. Anyways, before I immediately got, this server. We're not even, like 10 seconds into this video or something, and I'm already wanting to cry. Anyways, so, I wanted to just make this, quick rant about, the state of M7, because, quite frankly, I think... And I guess this could apply to, all of Dungeons as well, because, Dungeons is not particularly in, the greatest of states at the moment. I'm leaping to the mage, because I think there is, map this way, and I probably actually incorrect. I think the healer actually is struggling a bit more. My healer is, dead. Never mind, I should have gone over there instead of yoinking this split. Whatever, this split is now yoinkity spoinkity mine, and I guess I get to do the secrets as well. Wow, my gameplay is already really rough this time around, and we're already only a minute into this video. Hey guys, so about the state of M7, needless to say, so this is something I've been asked a few times, somewhat recently, and it's how do you enjoy playing M7 in the current day and age? And the answer is it's pretty hard. Oh my god, I can't double pearl to save my life. What the Cat 81, by the way. So I guess the question becomes how do you enjoy playing dungeons this much? And the answer is it's kind of hard to enjoy dungeons. In the current day and age, because for one, Party Finder has not been, the best as of recent. Don't question me, because, I'm playing a Party Finder right now, so, but, usually, there's a decent chance you find, actual god gamers in Party Finder. Not always the case, but, there's a good chance. This is oh my god, it is a 310 mines. No wonder we still don't have score. Oh, and yeah, the server. So one, you have Party Finder, which, sometimes there are god gamers in Party Finder, but other times, there aren't god gamers in Party Finder. And, here's the thing about, at least especially in M7, is there are gonna be, some people who are either insanely cracked at the game and have... My healer is only just now getting through the coal blocks. This is a bit problematic. I do not think there's going to be a pre-dev, and I might actually need a stack arrows device. But speaking of healers, that's going to be that's a topic for a different video. I have a lot of things to say about healers, but for now, just regular state of M7. And dungeons in general. And it's playing in Party Finder has gotten to be increasingly more frustrating, I think, for a lot of people these days. Usually you'd find parties that are in PF that are actually bearable to play with. They're not necessarily going to be the fastest of runs, but they're still workable. Yeah, okay, bro. But they're still going to be workable for the most part. My healer doesn't have leap messages, so I'm gonna just cry. Anyways. So you think, Party Finder would be, most parties would be somewhat workable, but I've come to notice a lot of times nowadays, people just don't seem to have a good amount of game sense. Wow, that pre-4 was absolutely horrible. People don't really seem to have that much. My archer is not early entering. Okay. This is not something I was expecting. And quite frankly, I'm not entirely sure, what the, root cause of this could be. I mean, this, something I kind of wanted to point out for a long time. My healer is actually early entering. My question is if they're actually gonna, survive early They don't even have, they died. What the archer? I feel bad for this healer. This healer was actually gaming. I mean, aside from the pre-dev, because yeah, half of arrows is still not done. This is just not. Oh my god, I don't know the leap menu. They actually did it. They didn't even need my help. I'm just here as moral support. But it's like, the Dungeons community is weird. I know this video is like so incredibly off topic and like ranty already, but like the Dungeons community is weird. Like, people expect like Party Finder to get like better on their own, but like one day we'll leap into core when people are inside core. But like people expect Party Finder to get better, but like nobody actually wants to like share like even basic strats. It seems that or people are just like people are just unwilling to like actually look up how to like play the floor or like look at like actual like good players for like stuff, because there's like plenty of like resources, you know, on YouTube, like guides, POVs, you know, and the sort, like all over YouTube. So I can't tell if like people are just generally gatekeeping things from like, you know, newer players, or if newer players are just unwilling to like actually, you know, look up how to do things, or maybe it's a mix of both. I don't know. Needless to say, Party Finder has become a little bit unbearable in recent times, because you look at like some parties, like, okay, this party's not a great example because this is technically queued as a Cat of 48 party, so, you know, I'm not expecting, you know, the most gamer of gamers. Why is my... You know, I'm not questioning it. My mage is lifelining, even though... Like... Look, lifeline is, like, probably the... Like, mage is probably the only decent class where lifeline actually, like, still works in dungeons. Otherwise, like, you're just trolling. Anyways, what was I saying? God, I'm so incredibly sidetracked. I can't even arrow stack properly. Jesus. Welcome, Birds57, by the way. But yeah, so it's like either people are like unwilling to learn, or like we're not sharing info because, you know, the dungeon community. Wow, England is hard. I can speak. The dungeon community like likes to gatekeep things a lot, which is really annoying. I'm not gonna lie. Like, you think like as like a, I guess, quote unquote speedrunning community, because, you know, that's just what, you know, a bunch of high-level dungeons is, you know, just a speed run basically of how fast you can complete the floor. Why are we not entering, by the way? Hello. You think like when we're out here, you know, trying to complete a floor as fast as possible to, you know, get as much profit as we can, it's like, you know, you'd think like people would like share, you know, strats on how to get better or like complete runs faster, but I don't even know what the hell is happening in this party anymore. This is just a rant. You know, I was hoping to get like 2 runs worth of like rant material in, but I don't even think that's gonna happen at this rate. This video is already like 10 minutes long probably. Anyways, yeah, the dungeon community is particularly interesting in that, you know, we don't tend to like share things a lot, which I find kind of annoying because, you know, not everybody knows everything about the dungeons, and, you know, people already kind of like hate how sweaty, you know, high-level dungeons are, because, you know, there's a lot of tech, a lot of stuff like you need to know to like play dungeons at the highest level. But the thing is, like, if we're not gonna share that info with like people, like, then we're just gonna keep driving people away from, you know, arguably one of the most popular, you know, aspects of, you know, this game. Now, I'm not gonna like bother trying to look up like, you know, the graphs or the tables or like charts or anything on like which, you know, skyblock modes or like islands, I don't know, where people tend to spend the most time in dungeons, but like, why is like, oh, I have the entire map. No wonder everybody's just, you know, in my split all of a sudden. It was like, if we're gonna keep driving people away from, you know, the game because of how sweaty it is, and just constantly going to be calling people bad because, you know, they don't know how to effectively do, you know, some of the strats that, you know, they kind of need to do. What? Oh my god. I just want to clear a split, man. But it's like, if we're gonna do that, then, you know, at the end of the day, we're just gonna be limited to, you know, the same few people that, you know, we're kind of just being forced to run with, and, you know, that's kind of suboptimal. Now I know, like, Now, I know, like, there's going to be a, like, pretty comprehensive dungeon guide that's coming out pretty soon. I'm not gonna, you know, mention who's making the dungeon guide, but, you know, if you're even, like, remotely tuned into, like, the community, you can probably already figure out who's probably gonna be making a dungeon guide and releasing one soon for the general public. So, you know, hopefully the state of Party Finder will be better, but, like, it's still a long shot at the end of the day, because even like with what I know of like the upcoming guide, like there's still probably some info that, you know, is generally not going to be applicable to, like, or I should say it will not be immediately available, which again, a bit annoying, but unfortunately with just how, like, the nature of how much stuff is gatekept in this community, it's tragic, really. Dude, these are probably, like, some, like, 1404 or, like, 08 rooms here. And my movement is, like, not it right now. You know what also doesn't help with, you know, the state of the dungeons right now? The servers. The servers, you know, okay, this server is, like, these servers for, like, these 2 runs I've done so far, you know, they've not been the worst. But, like, I think, you know, if you've, like, even remotely played dungeons within, like, you know, the last half year, and maybe even longer, I don't know. I did take, like, you know, a 4-month break from the game last year, and, you know, I only came back, you know, came back to the game, like, somewhat recently, and by somewhat recently, I mean, like, January, so, you know, 4 months ago. But, you know, listen, I stopped playing the game around, like, August. I took a lengthy break from the game, but, like, I've come back, and I've come to the realization that, the servers, they're just not functioning, and that's really not good for, you know, the dungeon community. And I guess this also, you know, affects people who, like, play Kuja as well, because, you know, I've talked to a few Kuja people as well, and they also complain about, you know, the state of the servers. And it's just like, why bother playing a game if it's not even going to function most of the time? Like we already have to deal with so much BS in this game, and, like, having to deal with terrible servers on top of it, especially during, like, peak hours. Like, this is, like, I am recording this at, like, 11 a.m. on a Thursday. Like, is today even a Thursday anymore? I'm pretty sure today's a Thursday. I've lost count, okay? Listen, I don't have a life anymore, okay, so it's fine. But, like, I forgot this archer isn't early entering. I was gonna, like, leap to him for early enter, but he doesn't early enter. Oops. And I hate Melody. But yeah, servers are, like, the servers, especially during, like, peak hours, like, are just not enjoyable to play on. Like, you're either restarting, like, at the start of the run, or this is not the healer, but I don't think the healer made it to early enter this time. Like, the runs either, like, are so bad at the start that you just have to restart at the start, or you're, like, halfway through boss, and then the server just, like, implodes and dies. And it's just not fun when you have to play on servers that, like, don't work. And, like, I know the admins, like, had, you know, the, you know, profile, like, backend changes on alpha. That was open for, like, what, 2 days, and then they closed it, and I don't think anybody said or has heard anything further about that, which, why? Please? We'd like more info. We'd like functioning servers. Like, I think if the admins would want to, you know, make their game, like, you know, more enjoyable for, like, the vast majority of people, because this, like, the server lag is not something that just affects M7 players. This affects, like, all of dungeons. Like, I don't know, something, like even, like, a few weeks ago or something, or, like, a few days ago, when I was, like, helping carry, like, people through lower floors, like, it was still pretty unplayable on some of the servers with how laggy they are. And it's just, like, I feel like they don't need to be this bad, especially, you know, since it's been a known problem for, like, a very long time. But I guess, you know, we're only just now trying to think of a way to fix it. I don't know, there's so much stuff that's happening, and, like, that could be, like, happen or, like, be improved in dungeons, and it's just, like, you see, like, the state of the game, and you, like, wonder why, like, you know, some of, like, the best players, or, like, have, like, just, you know, quit altogether. Like, I have known, like, quite a few people, like, and, like, this isn't even, like, within like the big dungeons community. I'm not that well known in the dungeons community, okay? Like I have big cat number, but like I don't really interact with many of like the pro players that much. Only like a bit more recently have I started to, you know, interact with like actually like well-known players in the community. But it's like a lot of the known names have like quit already at this point, and it's just like not a good look for the admin team. But you can't even like blame it on the admins to be. Hey guys, I'd like to move. I was stuck in the block. Bro, I don't even know I don't even know what's happening there. Yeah, I really don't know anymore. Like, a lot of people that wow, this server is incredibly good. Please don't, like, yeah. The admins wonder why we don't like playing their games sometimes, and we get servers like this that just don't function on a whim. It's a travesty. I just feel like, you know, so much could be improved in this game. And, like, there's so many other things that I could talk about. There's so many other things I could talk about, you know, in the state of this game, and it's just like... But I don't want this video to be, like, you know, 20 minutes long. This video is already long enough as is, so, you know... I wish this guy would, like, ready up, but, you know, I guess we can't have nice things. I'll do one more run of just ranting, and then, I don't know, maybe do an outro. I don't know. This video is, like I said, this video has gone on long enough. I hate quiz! I hate quiz. Yes, start cacao truffles, like, leveling up cacao truffles and stuff is nice in the time bag, but, oh, I hate quiz. It's such a time sink. 30 seconds of literally nothing. Not to mention the secrets I have to do in this room on top of it. But it's like... You wonder why the player count is, like, dropping. And, like, yes, you know, like, peak COVID years are over, but, like, people are still gonna be able to find free time to do things, and then it's like... But it's like, if you're not gonna, like, improve server performance, or, like, just basic things, like... It's really not a good look. It's like, I want to play this game more. Like, like, Skyblock is one of, like, 2, maybe 3 games that I play. I do not bounce around between a lot of games. I tend to, you know, stay, you know, confined into, you know, or, like, focus my time on, you know, a few games at a time, rather than, you know, like, play multiple, like, lots of games, but, like, spend like small amounts of time on it. Do you guys understand? Like, I have like so many hours on like 2 games, like Skyblock and like Osu, like if you couldn't already tell from my channel, like, but it's like these are like the only 2 games like I play pretty much. Like, yes, there used to be, you know, a League of Legends arc, but that game I've fallen out with that game ages ago. Like, League is a lost cause for me. And it's not like I want to solo queue League anymore, but like, when you have to deal with like some of the stuff that we have to deal with in Skyblock, it makes me wonder why I haven't like actually like fully quit so many other people already. Oh my god, I can't tell if it's the server or if it's my internet dying. I feel like my tank has just not done. He's done 2-7 melon. I don't know whether to be impressed or concerned about that. But yeah, needless to say, State of Party Finder, it's kind of rough because so many people tend to be exceptionally, like, Kata Rush nowadays, especially with, you know, how much, you know, Kata XP Master Mode gives. So people don't, like, a lot of people tend to, like, fast track, you know, their way to Kata 50, but, like, don't actually, like, take the time to, like, learn, you know, actual, like, dungeon strats, you know, or just basics of dungeons, like, you know, clearing, working on secret routes and whatnot. So, you know, like, clears tend to be, you know, a lot slower in Party Finder, especially, you know, when it's completely, like, uncoordinated game. So, like, and then people yell at each other for, you know, not doing, like, things, even though quite frankly, most people probably are at fault for this as well. Like, I'm included in this. Like, I have had some questionable clears in my life. So it's like I can't like, you know, point the finger entirely at others without, you know, pointing it at myself, because, you know, I have suffered with like the same, you know, issues that, you know, Party Finder has. Because let's be real, I'm not a perfect human being. I make mistakes as well, and like that's just, it's human nature after all. But at the same time, it's like there are just things that could be improved on in Party Finder that, you know, would make, you know, the experience a lot more enjoyable for, you know, people. But it's also like, I don't know. I feel like I've gone on too long. This video is already like this video is going to be like 20 minutes just because, you know, of how long these rant. This guy just started stacking Melody, saw it was Melody, and then left. Not sure I'm a fan. The healer is actually like pretty okay though. Like, actually like attempting early enter as a legit healer. I respect that, because, you know, not a lot of people are able to do that. Now, they didn't really get a pre-dev done, sadly, but, you know, Bonzo staff is an item that exists. The admins, why the admins made this change and then didn't revert it? I don't know. The admins make some very questionable decisions at times. And I know, okay, like pearls kind of make sense, but like, I feel like the pearl change they made a long time ago was like just trying to patch a problem that didn't exist really, because I don't know, like I said, the pearl change was when I was like gone for a decent while. Something like they changed how pearls work, even though they work exactly like how they do in vanilla. I don't know. Not to mention, you know, how they changed the Bonzo staff from like where like shoots now, so like people had to like relearn a lot of movement, and it just makes life a lot more difficult for, you know, legit players. But again, rant for another video. I'm just gonna finish this one off, you know, maybe show a little bit of people. I don't know. The state of dungeons is, you know, it's an interesting period. You know, I'm hoping that at some point, like soon, you know, the admins are gonna like release or like roll out to main, you know, the profile backend changes that they were quote unquote testing on alpha, even though, like I said, it was probably only on alpha for like 2 days. And like, I would be real with you, I don't know how effective, you know, backend testing on the alpha is going to be, or like be reflective of, you know, main server performance, because, you know, alpha is already so incredibly limited to, you know, people. There's never going to be nearly as many people on alpha as there will be on main. And like, a lot of like the functionality in, you know, in alpha is just way different compared to, you know, the main server. So it's like, I feel like I want them to like make, like, probably release the backend changes, so, you know, hopefully make servers better. But it's like, I don't know how much it's gonna change anything at the end of the day. So it's like, I really hope, like, I'm really hoping that, like, the backend changes will actually make servers better. But until then, I'm just kind of relegated, like, back to the question of how do you enjoy dungeons? I just kind of have to play along with it and, you know, either just goof around with people, like, in, like, a VC or something, or, like, listen to other things, or, you know, wait for, you know, like, my perm, or, like a perm, or, like, another group of friends to get on so we can, like, play together and also, like, basically goof around, because, let's be real, like I said, Party Finder can be improved on. Let's just hope that, you know, the resources and, you know, what needs to happen in dungeons to make things better come sooner rather than later, before ultimately we all just quit this game because of how, you know, unplayable it is. I don't know. It's just layman's thoughts from, you know, somebody who spent way too much time in this game and, you know, want to see, you know, the general state of the game be better, especially for a lot of people. But, you know, it's kind of hard when you know, we're kind of just stuck in this, like, I guess, perpetual state of, like, limbo where nothing happens when things are supposed to happen, and I don't know anymore. That was a, I guess, completely long and incoherent rant on M7. I don't know. I might, if you like this style of like rant commentary video, like, I don't know, leave a comment, like, subscribe. I don't know. I might do more of these in the future if you guys like this kind of stuff, but I don't know. I definitely will plan on doing like a few more rant videos because there's a lot more topics I want to talk about. Just vent some frustration out, and at least try to make the general public a bit more aware. But otherwise, I might just stick to POVs. I don't know. If you guys like this content, I don't know, leave a like, comment, subscribe. I don't know. In the meantime, if you want to watch more skyblock content, which there isn't that much of this on this channel, it's all like M7 POVs, but you can look at this mage POV. I played the mage class in M7. It's incredible. Yeah. I don't know why you're still here.